We're back. Remaining with us is Judge Greg Mathis. Joining us, Dwayne Dog Chapman, the star dog of The Bounty Hunter. Now going into his 7th season on A&E. He's also served time in the Texas State Penitentiary at Huntsville for accessory to murder. And Felicia Snoop Pearson, actor and author. She starred in the TV hit the great show The Wire. She served 6 years in prison for first-degree murder. Dog, you are certainly proof you could turn a life around. Did prison help you in any way?
Yes, sir. Hi, Larry. Prison helped me all the way. I mean, I did not like it back in the 70s. Texas was the only self-sufficient prison. That means we had to raise our food, get up in the morning and work. And it was terrible. I did not want, there was no crime that was fun enough to equal the punishment of prison. There just wasn't any. So, yes, prison helped me.
The system itself rehabilitated you.
The system itself rehabilitated me because I hated, you know, when I hit the Texas Penitentiary, I was 22 years old. And the first thing they told me is there's no rehabilitation here, dog. You're here to be punished. And you're going to work. And for 18 months, I was punished.
Judge, what do you make of that? Because they say punishment in and of itself doesn't work. Dog says in his case it worked.
Well, fear, when punishment is involved, certainly is a deterrence. But being convicted and sentenced should achieve 3 things. 1, deterrence from crime in the future.
Sure.
2, punishment. And thirdly, rehabilitation, because if they come back out without rehabilitation, they're going to victimize us again. They're going to go right back into prison where taxpayers are going to continue to pay for their housing.
So Dog is not atypical.
No, he is not.
Felicia, what about you? Snoop, you did 6 years. Did prison at all? Was there any way prison helped you?
Yeah, it helped me in a lot of ways. It helped me to humble myself. I had a bad attitude when I was younger. You know, I used to think, you know, things like life wasn't real. You know, and prison made me see that life is really real. You know, I started appreciating life more. Yeah.
So, Judge, what do you make of this? These are 2 people, counter to what they're saying prison helped them.
Absolutely. I think that prison helped them in the sense that it was a deterrence for them, and they were punished. And I think that in some sense they were rehabilitated because they made a commitment not to go back. And when they came out, at some point, they became productive citizens.
Why doesn't everyone do that? Who would want to go back to terrible?
Well, many of them have to return in their community to the same conditions: poverty, hopelessness, despair, and a failed education system.
So Snoop, how did you overcome that if you go back into the same situation?
I mean, when I came out from prison, I tried to get, you know, I tried to work. You know, I had 2 jobs. You know, they fired me because of my background. And, you know, like the judge just said, like, society just called me, and I came back just, you know, probably selling drugs or whatever, trying to make money. You know, once you come out of prison, you know, it's like they just let you go. You know, like, I mean, they give you whatever you had in your bank account, and they just let you go. It's nothing else after that, you know, and that's what I'm trying to work on now for people that's coming out of that system into the real world that dealt with real time, like 15, 20 years. You know, let them see, you know, let them see life, period. You know, they done missed a lot of years, man, and you can't just throw people back in this society like that, because they're gonna turn around. They're gonna turn around and go right back in prison.
Did prison do anything? Did they ever work on reform? Did they ever try to help you be better, or was it just the punishment that worked for you?
Well, no, and at the very last, Larry, the guards started getting nicer and, you know, starting to rehabilitate me. But in the beginning, it was nothing but punishment. And Snoop is right. There's no programs. They say, Larry, that as long as you're in prison, it takes you that long on the streets to get back. So if you do a 5-year sentence, it takes you that. And Snoop is right. Some of these guys that do 15, 16, 17 years, they're getting out in their 30s. And, you know, they're lost. There's nowhere they could go. It's like putting a wild animal in a cage because he bit the mailman, and then one day just opening the cage, you know that animal's going to run again. So there's got to be, if I wasn't surrounded by the love that I had from family, I left the area completely. I moved out to a different state than when I went to prison. If I was not surrounded by that other, you know, I met people like Tony Robbins, Martin Sheen. I started, you know, just hanging around with those kind of people. Hello, Judge, and I really respect you, sir. Boy, you're a cool judge. But the judge is right too. You got to get out of that environment. You can't stay in there and make it. You got to break away from that. You know, I'm so proud to see a judge and Snoop, a judge that you know, and let's say, Snoop, you too, you know, we changed all of us, Larry, from the ex-con to the icon. There's a judge that's been to jail. There's Snoop that was a banger, and she knows what's happening. You know, I feel this is the best TV show interview I've ever done. Thank you, Larry King.
Let me get a break so we can pay for it. More with Dog, Snoop, and the judge right after this.